Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion. Got something to shoot. Come to you from the barren hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the home of Morgan Freeman, Elvis Presley, Jeff Quinn, Alvin York, all sorts of people, Dolly Parton. We could go on. Johnny Cash, naming them forever. At least people who lived here a long time. Yes, I'm going to take a couple of shots with my 44. And let's see if it will shoot. Let's put one on the target. Yeah, and then a little steel. And a hog. Wait. How about a 2-liter? I see a yeller one. I barely nicked it. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. It's hard to do. I couldn't do that if I was trying to just wing a 2-liter to where it almost didn't even leak or fall. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. It's still looks like winter, doesn't it? And even though the weather is improving and we're having a lot of pretty nice days, like anywhere between 50 and 70 degrees. So you're not sure what you get in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. In March, you get a real variety of weather. It could snow, in a week. Just never know. But generally, we don't get any really harsh cold weather once it gets to this point, middle to late March. And, that's where we be. And you know what I've got out here? My 44 Magnum. Oh boy, my baby. I was in the mood to bring my baby out that I bought in 1974. If there's anybody new here that has not seen this and doesn't know, this is one of those rare firearms that we buy and keep, right? We don't get upset with ourselves years later because we traded them off. We could all make, if we're very old at all, we could all make a long list of firearms we wish we had not traded off or sold. And I've talked about that before. Often it's not because we are dying to get rid of it. We just cannot afford to buy another gun or anything that we're interested in unless we get some cash. And it's just kind of what people do. I did it for many, many, many years. I traded off guns I didn't really want to let go, but I had fired them for a couple of years and I was interested in something else. And just didn't have the bank account where you just go write a check for a bunch of new guns. So anyway, it's neat. 74. All right, test my math. Well, I know in 2004 it will be how many years that I've had this firearm? Come on now, even you Kentucky folks can do the math. Yeah, 50 years. That's a long time. Right now, so we're -3. So what's that? 47. Yeah, boy. Pretty good for a Kentucky boy. So 47 years. Be October. That will, that's a long time to have one firearm and to shoot it. A lot of people don't live 47 years. A lot of people don't live 27 years or 7 years. So I can consider myself very lucky for a lot of reasons. And also that I did hang on to one of the early firearms I purchased, and very early, 1974, as I was just out of college a year. Wow, actually, yeah, a year. And so it was a big purchase at the time. Dirty Harry had run the price up on these things to like $400, $500, and they were supposed to be like $250, something like that. But I found one finally and made it mine, and I've enjoyed shooting it over the years. I've got 70,000 plus rounds, probably 75,000 now. I used to track the primers, I'd save the old primers in the boxes and all that for years because I shot it so much up until probably, I don't know, the first 20 or 30 years, I shot it a great deal. And in the last 20, I've not shot it as much. I just get it out every now and then, shoot it. But I was loading and shooting and loading and shooting and loading and shooting, going to the range, loading and shooting. This was my primary gun. This and maybe one other 357 Magnum, and then 45. That's what I was shooting. So it got a lot of rounds through it. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna shoot. Can I shoot some Magnums? Those were specials I started out with. Start out light. Wanted to be easy on your ears, okay, as we as we kicked off. And now I'm going to go to the hot stuff. All right. So I'm glad you're here. Hope you've had a good week. Things beginning to open up a little bit. Hopefully where you live. Maybe starting to get back to normal. You never know. We have to be careful. There are a lot of people who don't want things to get back to normal, you know, and you know, especially people involved almost in any area of medicine. I've noticed over my lifetime, whether it could be even a dentist, but people in medicine, especially emergency medicine or something like that, the people that see, they see all the horrors of of humanity, whether it's gunshot wounds, chainsaw accidents, whatever it is, the bicycle accidents, they see them daily. You know, I've told you my experience with that because I had a little chainsaw accident and I've had bicycle. In fact, well, it was 20 years separate probably, but I remember both times the emergency doctor, the doctors talking about how they ought to, during chainsaws, you know, to outlaw them, you know, bicycles and just, you know, they were both, I don't know, they didn't necessarily specifically say that these need to be outlawed, but the disgust, you know, that chainsaws exist, something that dangerous, and then bicycle accidents and all that kind of thing. And so, you know, as I've said before, you know, those folks don't live in the real world. They live because of their profession. All the bad stuff gets funneled into them. You think about it, right? If you work in an emergency room, then all the horrors of the entire society and the world are funneled right into you, right into your doorstep. So you see it all, and I think it'd be really easy to get a skewed, distorted view of the world. And you know, a lot of people, they tend to want to have this perfectly safe society anyway, this utopia they think can exist. So particularly if you're of that mindset and you're in medicine, yeah, man, you would hate ladders. You would want to ban ladders, of course, guns, chainsaws, bicycles, cars, you name it, because all these things that we get hurt on, you know, that's part of life. Yeah, people are going to get hurt. There's going to be tragedies. Things are going to happen, you know. So, you know, anyway, we have to be careful. I got off there on a little tangent, rant, soapbox. But there are people who don't want society to open back up, of course. So we have to fight against that, right? All right, let's take a couple shots. Now, these are Magnums. All right, Magnum rounds. I guess I better hit a hog with one of these. Yeah, that rocked him. That's rocked him again. Woo! That did. Now this will take a 2-liter off. Yeah, no uncertain terms. Woo! Boy, I'm gonna knock that bowling pin around a little bit. Do I have another round? Yes, I do. You know where it ought to go? It ought to go out there to the gong, don't you think? All right. Yeah, I think it hit it. I don't know, I'll have to look at the video. I think it did. That's one of those cases I've talked about where it's so loud, and those are fast, and it gets there so fast that I'm still hearing the report of the gun fire and shot and all that, even with ears on, that the steel doesn't ring as loud. Let me try that again. Let me put another hot one in there. And then two, if I haven't been shooting at it with, say, that hot ammo, and you know, at the gong, or is it hanging correctly? You sometimes you discover the sound is a little different. Maybe it's got a little dirt against it or something. So anyway, I'm just curious. I don't know. I can't tell. I'm gonna have to shoot something lighter at it and see. And sometimes if you hit it like right where the hanger is, it won't be as loud. I think that's hung. I walked over there. I don't think there's anything against it, but anyway, I'll shoot something else and make sure. You might know already, because sometimes on the video, the camera, the sound comes through more clearly. You can hear the ring. It's just not loud. So we'll see. I might just be missing. I haven't messed with my sights, have I? I haven't been shooting like long range or anything. I'll hold lower. One of the things I do when I am like that, like I didn't seem to hear steel on any of those three, really, at least in any pronounced way, to give me confidence that I hit it. And one thing I'll usually do, because I thought I was holding pretty much right on it, I will hold lower, okay? And that's one of the things you can do generally. It depends on where you are. Sometimes it doesn't help if there's no dirt below the target, right? But we've got ground right there, and so I can hold. Let me bring it down a little bit and see if I see it, because then you can visualize it hitting the ground or the dirt, you know. In fact, let's do that just to show you I am not making up stuff. Okay. Same rounds, same magnums, and we'll shoot some specials. Okay, I'll put 5 in there, not because I have to. All right. I'm going to hold a little bit lower. I'm going to hold around the bottom of it, see if I see anything. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, now that hit it, didn't it? I'm going to hold lower again. I think that popped it. That got it. Okay. So maybe I was just missing it. I was holding too high. I must have just barely been going, just barely across the top into that wood. Okay. All right. Experimenting, real life experiments and experiences. So that's one thing I've always loved, have a place to shoot. I used to love to watch, gosh, it was in the 70s, early 70s, I think I saw videos of guys and gals out west shooting, doing silhouette shooting, metallic silhouette shooting at the steel animals. And when that was not as widely known, people weren't shooting steel that much back then. And I thought that was so neat. They're out west somewhere, and you could see the hits when you missed, because, you know, the sand or the desert, the dirt, whatever. And I thought that'd be a cool place to have a range, because you can, and in Elmer Keith, if you read his writings, you know, you talk about walking the bullets up into the target, you know, out there you can just see where they hit, you know, and then you're bracketing the target. You know, you see it go high, low, right, left, you can adjust by, because you can tell where you hit. Just like shooting a paper target at 20 yards or any yardage, if you can see the hits, that's why you shoot paper, so that you can, you know, chart your progress. You're going left, right, high, low. So it's kind of cool. I always thought to be able to do that, just shooting at the ground, or not shooting at the ground, but, you know, wherever you hit. So we're getting some weird lighting. We got clouds and storms and things I think are coming. Probably not before I finish, but we may get some strange lighting. My face might disappear. It might be difficult to see. And don't cry. Just pull up another video if you want to see my face more clearly, okay? You should still be able to hear me. I don't think the lighting affects the sound that much, okay? So, not that I have anything intelligent to say, but I might. What was I going to, heavy topics to talk about? I don't know, not really. Just again, you know what you need to be doing, because gun control proposals, they're flying, right? And that's true almost any time of any year. It's just that it steps up, you know, certain times, and you've got to be on your guard, keep up with what's going on, okay? That goes without saying, and you'll be contacting people, everything you can possibly do, you know. And you really need to be active politically. as much as you can locally, state level, county, and then nationally, if at all possible, for the causes you believe in, whether you hate guns or you love guns. I was thinking the other day how there are always some really clever, like whether it's a meme or a video or a saying about some of the anti-gun politicians, and they're just totally brainless. And comments I see that people make who live in California or in Massachusetts or somewhere, New York, where they have very little freedom in that regard. And you know, just the common usage, a commie form, a California, you know, whatever the name for California, people get so upset with it, and the restrictions, and how, and even make up really clever jokes about their politicians and all that kind of thing. And it's all entertaining, and it's true, everything. But you know, they're not seeing any of that. They don't care. They don't care. We're basically just talking to each other about that. You know, if we're not contacting those representatives, even if they are anti-gun, the more people that do it, then maybe something clicks just a little bit. Maybe on one bill, they're not sure how they're going to vote because enough people have been harassing them almost through email and telephone calls, and just, I don't know, it can't hurt for them to be at least aware that there are a lot of people in their district or in their state that do not agree with what's going on, you know. Otherwise, if no one contacts them because they feel like it's a lost cause, they can more easily just live in their bubble, you know, and not even be aware that there's another way to look at the world. So we've got to stay active. So all that, no doubt about that. It's terrible, the horrific shooting in Atlanta this week. Wow. You know, there's just always going to be sick people out there, aren't there? And then, of course, there are always going to be sick politicians that want to take advantage of it, you know, and of course jump to, you know, race and gun control and everything else. So it's just all the more reason to be active, because there are politicians and other people, but politicians are the most dangerous, right? They're in office, who are just waiting for something to happen, some horrific act, because they're going to happen. I mean, it's humanity. There's over 400 million people in the country, so stuff happens, and it's going to happen. So they're poised and ready always to add that to the narrative, or whatever narrative they live by, right? So you got to watch that. Just some stupid stuff. But I know one of the things about that I heard on the report early. A reporter asking, "Is there any news? Did the shooter buy the gun legally? Was the gun bought legally or illegally?" And I was kind of, again, which goes back to things I've talked about for years. How silly. Does it matter? I mean, someone kills 8 people. How they got the tool is almost irrelevant. It's almost irrelevant. They want to make something out of it, of course, is why they want to, I don't know which is the bigger prize for a gun-hating reporter. I don't know which is the bigger prize, if the gun is bought legally or if it's bought illegally. You know, see, there's too many illegal guns out there floating. Get these guns off the street. Or if he bought it legally, see, we need stronger gun laws. This guy, idiot, crazy man, bought this gun. You know, so they win either way. They can just take that into their narrative, right? So I always make the analogy of knives. There's so many guns out there, you know, 400,000 guns. 400 million guns out. They're like knives. You know, it's like asking, well, you know, where do you get that club to kill that person? Where do you get that baseball bat? Do you buy that baseball bat in a sporting goods store? Or where do you get that? Do you get it legally? I mean, it's almost as silly as asking that, you know, in my way of thinking. So, I mean, people do these things, not baseball bats, not fists, not feet, not knives, not guns. People do things that are horrific sometimes, and they can, with the help of the media and politicians, of course, lead us into a police state because of that. Sure can. if they have their way. So anyway, let me shoot this gun some more. 47 years. Wow. That might even be longer than some of you have been alive that I bought this gun. Bought it at a Nashville gun show. I remember the table and where it was. I can see it. And I wasn't going to go to the show. And I just, at the last minute, I went anyway. And there it was. And I'd been looking for one. Everybody was looking for one, I think, at the time. Fall of '74. And it was actually a hardware store. Carter, right? Yeah, Carter Hardware in Nashville. I don't think they're still in existence or not, but they had a gun area department, and they had guns in the hardware store. A lot of hardware stores did then. And I bought that. Then I had to wait the 3 or 4 days or whatever it was, a week to pick it up. You know, there's no instant check, and you had that waiting period. So I couldn't murder anybody for several days. It was tough to hold off. But I finally got the gun, and there it was. So yeah, never forget that. Oh, did I bring it? Yeah, I did. I was digging through some old photographs. No nudes or anything. Recently, and I set some of these aside. Yeah, and I'd already decided I wanted to shoot this and bring it. It's funny, and I didn't even remember having this picture, but I'll take it out of this sleeve. This is a picture I took with my digital camera in December '74. You think it was digital? Look at that resolution. I don't know if you can see that well or not. I'll look at that. Put my hand over. Does that help? But that is this gun in '74, December. So it was just a couple of months after I bought it. See how I had in the case, and I lined it up, and you know, the bullets up, the cartridges in the top of the case. Gosh, that's back when that thing is totally rotted away, all the innards of it. I still have the case, but you know, those insides to the cases just don't last too long. I don't know. It's probably in focus. It just doesn't appear to be in focus. But that's it. Gosh, still the cleaning kit and everything. December '74. Written on the back. So that's pretty neat. Also, there was another one on the back. This is the same month. I had a 4-inch nickel, 44 Magnum there, same thing, Model 29. Yeah, almost forgot. I'm sorry. So it's kind of neat to have a gun. Again, so many of us have these things, and we let them get away. Not these things, just a gun that we like. Could be a Ruger 1022. Everybody's got a story. Share it. The gun that got away that you really, really regret, that you would love to have back. And I got some others. I had some that were family connected. I should be kicked really hard. Just that I traded or sold, that I didn't really have to. That I don't know. I don't think your brain really develops. At least mine didn't. Well, actually. It really hasn't yet developed. I'm waiting for that, but I didn't get out of the 10-year-old stage, I think, till I was about 35 or 40. When I think back of some of the dumb things that I did, I didn't rob any banks or anything illegal. I'm not talking about that. You just think back, man, the mistakes you make when you're in your 20s even. I'm sorry, teenagers. Don't look forward to being an adult, a real adult, when you're 25. Well, you'll feel like an adult, but I tell you what, you're just not really there. If you ever get there. We guys, we never get there to adulthood. I mean, I admit to that. I don't want to be an adult. It's a really boring place to be. So I've never quite gotten there, and never will, to adulthood. All right, mentally. So I'll confess to that. But I've at least pretended to be an adult, since I was about 40, maybe, something like that. But anyway, I traded off some things I should never have. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of neat having this that long. I had that Python, that 6-inch blue Python at the same time. I wish I had kept that. That would be so cool. It was made in the 60s, and then I bought it in 70, about 4. And yeah, about the same year I bought this one. So that would have been cool to have kept, but no, couldn't do that. Had to trade it for something, right? Let's put some specials in here, since I've already proved my manhood with some Magnums. All right. Specials are fun to shoot. Obviously, in one of this length barrel, the Magnums are less punishing and fun to shoot too. They're both fun to shoot. Let's put one right here. Double action. And for you new people, or new to gun people, sometimes I shoot these double action, sometimes single action. And people wonder, fairly often, I'll see a comment about, why are you shooting it? Why are you cocking the hammer? You got a double action. I would say they're mostly young people and inexperienced shooters. If you've had a double action revolver and been shooting it for a period of years, I don't know, well, maybe I'm different. Maybe you just shoot yours double action. I shoot them both. It just kind of depends on my mood. But also, as I pointed out before, when you shoot single action or double action with hot rounds, I think it kicks more. There's something about the grip you have on it. I don't know what it is. If I got really hot ammo, I'm not as anxious to shoot double action. There's something about you can't just get your grip all perfect and ready or something. I don't know. I mean, you can do it. It's fine, but just because I look at it as a kind of a single action with double action capability, especially a big old target gun like this or hunting revolver, whatever you might want to call it. Okay. Yeah. So make sure I'm recording. So let's shoot again and see why. Okay. What else was I going to talk about? I don't know. Oh, how about gouging? Because everybody is gouging, right, on gun prices and ammo prices. Well, not really. I was just going to, again, admonish people to be careful about accusing somebody of gouging. Gouging is one of those words, the subjective word. Again, it's unless you know what somebody paid for something, how can you claim they're gouging, for one thing? It's a little bit like that term overpriced. Well, is anything overpriced? No, not really. It's just priced in a place where I'm not going to buy it. You know, gouging is this. Right now, I see it a lot. You know, people. I see comments. Oh, gun shop in Washington State or wherever, all over the place. You know, such and such sporting goods are gouging. You know, they're gouging on their ammo, and they're gouging this, or whether it's an online or it's a local store, or whatever, gouging. And of course, some places have a reputation for that. But I mean, you don't know what people are paying for things. You don't know how available it is. Do you know how many employees they have that they're about to lay off because maybe a lot of their ammo, their sales for the month, every month, is based on their ammo sales, and they're not getting any in. And when they do find it, they have to pay 2 or 3 prices to get it. They're buying it secondary market or however they're getting it. It's just costing a lot more. And they're about to lay off 2 or 3 of their employees because they just don't have the income that they did, you know, when things were normal. And so they're trying to, you know, no one else has this ammo. I found some. I'm going to have to price it at this level in order to keep from laying off my employees or whatever it is. You don't know their situation. You know, you really don't. And then not to excuse somebody that genuinely is taking advantage of a situation, but then again, it's a free market. You know, there are people, you know, lining up. I know at like Academy Sports and Bass Pro, all those places, they have figured out when the ammo comes in, as I understand, and then they're putting it straight on Gun Broker and doubling their money or whatever they're doing. You know, and you know, we all kind of look at that as being a little sleazy, but then again, it's what are you gonna do? Say that's illegal? Can't do that? It is a free country, and people can do it, you know, if they want to do it. I could line up and do it myself if I want to. I'm not going to do it, but you know, so I don't know. And it could be people, even those people. Some of those people they're not necessarily the dregs of the earth. Maybe some of them are unemployed because of all the craziness over the last year, and they're barely getting by, and so they've lost their job. So they can go stand in line in the morning or whatever it comes in and buy the ammo and then turn it and put food on the table. I don't know. You know, unless you know somebody's situation. I'm not kind of try to be that way about well, try to be that way about everything. You know, the masks, you know, is one thing. You know, unless a place requires it, man, I don't wear that thing. I take my chances, take it for a year, you know, but I respect businesses, you know, they require it. And then we make fun of people we see driving in a car wearing one, you know, or I've seen people on bicycles out riding around and everything else, you know, and especially if they're, you know, like over 30 or 40 or something. And I see that, oh man, get a life. But then again, I'm reminded, no, wait a minute, this guy or this gal, they could have emphysema, they could have some of these comorbidities that really makes it extremely difficult, maybe difficult to even survive, you know, if you get it, you get the bug. And so, yeah, it could be that. You don't know. I don't know that person, you know, so I don't know. You have to do what's right for you, you know, all that. So anyway, yeah, gouging. I'd be a little careful about throwing that term around. It is a lot like, though, now some people, like everything else, there's categories. There's people who maybe actually are gouging. There's legitimate accusations of that and everything else. But then again, we know we've got this mass of society. We've got this big chunk of society these days that kind of live in, not in infamy, they live in envy, you know, envy of everybody else, jealousy of everybody else that has more than they do or could do something they can't do or whatever it is. And so some of it I think does come from that, you know, the same people that everything is overpriced and everybody's trying to get rich and you know, so you've got a lot of that comes out of that, I think. But then again, anyway, just think about it. What kind of ammo did I put in here? Specials, right? Guess how I'll find out? If I have actually forgotten, when I pull the trigger, like right here. Okay, that's a special. Let's put one of these on the gong. We might have to wait a minute for it to get there. Yeah, I don't guess I moved those sights, or you know what, they are kind of high. You know, I think I did move those. I think I was doing some shooting at the 230 yard gong, maybe. Yeah, I think I did raise those a little. That's what's throwing me off here, because I've shot this thing too many times to have trouble. And so, yeah, like even that first shot or two, I'm not sure it hit it until I brought it down a little bit. So yeah, so they were going just barely over that thing, yeah, into the wood. I believe that's what was happening. So I need to get my screwdriver out, because I really did that. Now when I used to compete with this, I did the IHMSA International Handgun Metallic Silhouette competition in the 70s. And you can imagine me, you know, there were a lot of different classes. I'm in the no class. There were classes, open class, where you lay down and put a scope on, all kinds of different classes, just like all sorts of shooting or car racing or anything. But I mostly just shot this standing, you know, and I forgot what it was called, revolver class or just standing or what, but I just shot this. And I now forgot what I was going to tell you. Oh yeah, the sights I had figured out, because the targets, and I guess that competition is still going on. I think the NRA maybe sort of took that over. I don't know. They had their version of that too. We shoot the chickens, pigs, turkeys, and the sheep, rams, you know, to 4 different distances. and it was 50 meters, 100 meters, 150, and 200 meters is what they were. And I had figured out with this thing, with my load, the ammo I had loaded and shot, and that I forgot exactly what it was now, but I could loosen that rear sight up I think I didn't move it till I got out to 150 meters maybe, and I'd loosen it like 2 turns, and then at 100 meters where I'd do it first, then at 200 meters on the rams. I think it was 4 turns, 4 complete turns of that screw. And that way I was able to hold my sights right about the same at each distance, rather than do the Elmer Keith thing I typically do. If I'm shooting at something pretty far away, I just hold the sight up a little more or whatever. But I was able to keep the same sight picture, and that is the best way to do it if you can. And but I don't do that, really much anymore. I'm surprised I did it then. Anyway, so I don't have a screwdriver with me. Terrible, I usually do. So anything else you want to know about? Not really. Didn't want to know about this gun, did you? Let's see, is there any information, any advice for young people? Yeah, how about, as I load some hot Magnums in here, how about, make sure I'm not going too long, how about do something worthwhile? I advised you that before, young people, and so that you don't feel you have to virtue signal. Okay, we have a whole world that is trying to virtue signal and show how empathetic they are with other people. Some of the mask wearing, I think, ties into that. Whatever it is, and in some ways, I mean, it can involve racism and just anything at all. Trying to show that you are altruistic, or you're caring about people, and to the point where you're not even being yourself. So be careful about that, and it just gets a little crazy sometimes, I think. Be caring about other people, but do your own thing. Be an individual. Be an individual. You're not really a person. As Emerson said, what was it? Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. Well, he wasn't talking about men specifically, but gender-wise, but that, if you're just a clone of everybody and doing everything everybody else is and just trying to feel good about yourself all the time, are you really an individual? Are you ever going to accomplish anything significant or do anything worthwhile, maybe even different than your neighbor does or your buddy or whatever? But just be yourself, and don't live your life to appear like nothing. The major focus of your life is to appear that you are sympathetic with mankind. And it could be that there are people who see racism everywhere, right? Injustice everywhere. Well, if I go around here all day long and I'm seeing injustice and trying to correct it, and I'm likely to be making up some of that stuff. It doesn't even exist, but I need it. I need to find racism. I need to find injustice, or else I just don't feel good about myself. I don't feel like I'm doing anything worthwhile. So we have to be careful of that, I think, as human beings. It's a natural, maybe human tendency. So some things that seem natural and desirable maybe are not desirable. Like shooting 44 Magnum with one hand. Let's try it. All right. Woo. Get my ears in tight. Let's put one on the paper. Another one on the pig. Now that I figured out where to hold, let's put one on again on the gong. Hit it? Yeah, pop that thing. Okay. Let's try a bowling pin. Knock him over here. Woo! All right, that's 6 up. Wow. I don't know. maybe John has been messing with my guns. Yeah, maybe he brought a screwdriver and and changed my. Wouldn't that be a dirty trick to do somebody? I've talked about doing that. I've never done it. I mean, it would be really, it'd be a great joke. Like if I had a friend out shooting or something, to just mess with the sights, and I would do that. That's exactly the kind of thing I would do. That'd be a great prank. And then give them a hard time about shooting high or low or not being able to shoot their gun. The only reason I wouldn't do it is I know that it takes sometimes so much experimentation to get your sights, right where they need to be, where you want them with certain loads. So, it'd be kind of mean unless the person knew exactly, had a sight that you could adjust very precisely and get it back on the setting without any trouble, which is not always the case, rarely the case, right? Or at least we don't. Once we get a gun that's hitting where we want it to hit, I just leave it for years, decades maybe. If something works, I'm not big on messing with it. People ask me through the years, what load you using? What for a 45 ACP? I don't load much of it lately, but I'll just you probably don't want to know. I mean, there's been all these new powders and different things that have come along, and I'm still loading Winchester 231, I think, in 45 ACP, which I think is the only load I have ever used. When I started loading 45 ACP 230 grain cast bullets back in, or even hardball jacketed back in, when was that? That would have been like 75 or something. I found a load that worked, and I stuck with it. I've not been big on adjusting dies and messing with that. That's a little bit like your gun sights. Once you get your bullet seating die on your reloader, everything's set to where it seats the bullet perfectly. The crimp is just right if there is a crimp, and all that, and the right powder drop, and you got all that adjusted. You've shot it, and this is good load. If you're competing, it makes major or minor or whatever. It works in your gun. It works in any gun you have in that chambering or whatever, especially with semi-auto firearms, because you're relying on spring tension and everything to work right. Why change it? I just don't change it. My powder measure is still set for a certain number of grains of Winchester 231 when I'm loading 45 ACP. So anyway, I don't mess with sights and mess with that kind of thing much real. And the only reason I have ever done it with this one is where I want it to be when it's all the way down, pretty much, this rear sight. So I can get it back where I want it without any trouble. I think maybe it's up half a turn. So I just don't mess with it very much. So it's not a problem. So anyway, maybe John sneaked in there and did that. I'll blame it on him. So anyway, any other profound advice? Hope you enjoyed the M&P 1522 shot this week. So that was kind of an interesting experience. It worked part of the time and with some ammo, and other times I had some trouble with it. I've seen comments, people recommend changing out the ejector or some different things. Of course, that's not my gun, but on those that make them work better, and even some others that work better. So I always learn a lot when we do a video on something. You don't learn it too late, after the video, just from comments. But that's the value to you all and to me. People who have experience with a firearm post about it. Whether it's in forums, as I've said many times, or on videos, or around. There are not a lot of secrets about firearms once they've been out a little while. When we test a gun, review a gun, do a video on a gun, it's just one gun. It might work really well, or it might not work well. But all the others might work just the opposite, or a lot of them, or enough of them. And that information, is out there. It's a great thing about the internet. No big secrets, right? So if I were going to buy, for example, I knew we had never done one of those and had requests to do it, and so I saw Bud's had one, and requested it. But if I were looking to buy an AR-22, I would go about it a little bit differently. I would, if I just had the Jones for a AR-15 and 22 long rifle, I would do a different kind of research. I would do the research before I even got one, of course. And what are people finding out about them? Which ones work the best? Do I want to just get a 22 conversion or an upper for my regular AR-15? What would be the best route? And do that kind of research. And the information would be out there, right? Anyway, so in a gun that I'm not going to buy myself, it's a little different. And then, of course, the Glock 18 fixed. So we finished up with that. And you may see a couple more videos with it. But we showed you the kind of what happened, the squib load and everything, as according to Glock, and that apparently after it broke, and I couldn't put it back together, really. I mean, it broke it. I kind of wiped it off, and I wrapped it back up. I just wrapped it up in a kind of an oily cloth and everything into parts, and okay, make sure we don't lose anything from this gun. Now it's broken, and get it back without anything, being lost or falling out or anything. So I really didn't. I don't think, to tell you the truth, I couldn't remember 100% because I have so many guns and Glocks. I'm cleaning and not cleaning and clean before I shoot and not, and I just don't remember whether I even looked inside the barrel or ran a patch through it. I can't say with confidence one way or the other on that one. So I think I just wrapped it up and I don't know, sent it back. I don't know. But anyway, so apparently there was a slug in the barrel, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the barrel's fine. So John's got it in his Glock back in, and he was shooting, as you saw in the video. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just glad Glock fixed that for Silencer, Central. And it was really cool to get that, be able to shoot it, a real Glock 18. That's just very, very, very cool. We again appreciate SilencerCentral.com for, they mainly specialize in, of course, suppressors, imagine that, and silencers. But to get a hold of that, be able to shoot a real Glock 18. Now the Glock 17s with a conversion, which we've done several videos on, it's the same thing, but it's just not a Glock 18. It's the only difference, right? Be like, I don't know, if you bought an AK and you're able to convert it, it's going to be a full auto AK. Just like if you were able to go to Russia and buy one, a real one, and bring it home and shoot it, but still same thing, full auto is full auto. So we had fun with that, and I hope you enjoyed that. Been shooting the Walther PDP, and I'll have to say it's a nice pistol. Yeah, it really is. There's a lot out there on it already, and I guess people are liking it. But I had not weighed in on it and wanted to get one. Requested from buds. I finally got out there. We don't, as I've said before, we don't get guns early. Don't want guns early. Don't want to. I just want to be able to not feel awkward, about it. There's something I don't like about it. I want to feel free to complain about it. So we don't get into the early gun stuff. And I'm glad people do, because you can learn about guns early and know they're out there. Like right now, I wasn't even aware of Ruger. Was it the Ruger something 9? Ruger. Oh man, how could I lose that? Anyway, they got a new little single stack or a micro 9, whatever you want to call it, out there. I just found that out, and of course the Shield Plus, and some different guns like that I guess a lot of people have known about early on. I just found out about them a week ago or something like that. So we'll get some of those in too once they're available, and try them out, because I like to try out new guns, especially guns like that I might want to buy or shoot and own and carry. And so it's just we don't get them early intentionally. But back to the PDP, that man, the trigger's unbelievable on that thing. is just unbelievable for a striker fired gun. It's a target trigger, it really is. And one thing I don't like about it, I guess, I don't remember in my shooting so far, is the slide is thick, very thick. It's going to be hard to find a holster. I mean, they'll make holsters for it, I guess, but it's a big old thick slide. And you know me, I'm kind of a minimalist. I'm a minimalist to some extent. But it feels good, and it shoots great. So if you got a holster for it that you like, and you're going to carry it outside, it's not it's not that you're going to stick a Glock 19, or a 509 FN in your belt probably without a holster. But you could. If I had a Glock 19 here and I didn't have a round in the chamber or no mag, and I just need to get it back to the vehicle and take it home, and I do that occasionally. I just, okay, it's empty, stick it in my belt, and I don't know I have it, and that gun, I mean, it's got a slide about that thick, and it's got the edges, and so, I'd have to like loosen my belt about a notch in order to stick that into my belt. So it's just a thick gun, but a great shooter, and good sights, and not a lot of negative, really about it, unless some of that turns up. As I say, it will show up if parts start breaking or something, and that typically does not happen with Walther, good company. So I enjoyed shooting that and having some fun with that. And that's. Can I shoot again before I let you go? I'll take a couple shots. What should I shoot? I've got some 44 Special jacketed here. Let me finish those up, clean out whatever little bit of leading I might have, which should be none, really. I've shot enough Magnums, and they're jacketed. So these are going to be 44 Special. And oh, I know one other point I was going to make for young people or new people to firearms. With generally any of the double action revolvers, in the last 100 years, whatever. I forget the exact year we started having the block, but you can load 6 on these. These are not like the single action revolvers. Okay, the old action single action where you want to load 5 and not have the hammer down, on a round. All right. Oh, how have we neglected the old cowboy? Shoot this thing. See, with specials, it's much easier to shoot double action, very comfy, and a big old gun like this too. If of course, keep in mind if you are going to buy a revolver, you might see a big revolver in 44 or 357 Magnum that you like. It's powerful, and you've got a young son or daughter that you'd like for them to be able to shoot it too. I don't want to be selfish and buy this big old Magnum. They won't be able to shoot it. Well, yes, they could. They could shoot this thing, because with 44 Special in that long, heavy barrel, it wouldn't have to be that long, but it's a heavy gun, and if they could hold it up, there's just very little recoil with 44 Special. And then with 357 Magnum, same thing. Put some 38 Specials in it, and there's a wide range, at least under normal times, wide range of 38 Special ammo. Some of it is so light that, oh man, it's not much more than a 22 or something. So just keep that in mind, okay? As you shop for your revolver, if you don't own one. Because if you don't own one, guess what you should be doing? You should be shopping for one, okay? There are certain things out there that if you're a shooter, if you like firearms, if you have any money at all for the hobby, okay? And we don't want to encourage people to spend money they don't have. Way too much of that goes on, right? But if you have a budget at all for play, and you're really into firearms, and if you do not have a revolver, a lever action, a single action revolver, what else? A bolt action, some kind. There's others I could name. If you don't own those, what are you doing this afternoon? You should be out shopping, really. or online or something. Yeah, I mean, you just need to make those a part of your arsenal. Yep. And again, you notice so often on Sunday shoot-arounds, because this is what it's about. I come out and yak with you all and shoot something that I was going to shoot just to bring out the shoot for fun. And so often it is one of those guns I named, isn't it? Not always, but it is. Maybe an AK, you know, but an M16, you know, so just something cool or something I'm in the mood to shoot. And that's the thing. Most of the time, I'm in the mood. If it's no videos, well, this is a video, I guess, sort of. But if we're not doing a video or review or whatever it is, and I just want to get something out and go hiking or go shooting or come over here and do a Sunday video, it is a revolver, you know, or a lever gun or something like this. You know, some of the special firearms that I own, special firearms that I own. I started to say for a long time, but it doesn't have to be for a long time. I've learned a lot about firearms just since I started doing this. I've been a gun nut for a long time, but as I've mentioned before, I didn't really know what a Swedish Mauser was. You know, it turned out now it's one of my favorite rounds and favorite rifles. You know, and that has happened on several firearms that I just became familiar through doing the videos or watching somebody else's video or whatever it is, or a recommendation from you all that hey, you need to try. So, and I remember you all would encourage me to try a Swedish Mauser, for example, and what's that? You know, I didn't know anything much about it, you know. And then finally, after I saw that recommendation a few times, I looked them up and I got to know a little bit more about it. And I spot one in a gun shop, you know, and then somebody had one to lend, and so anyway, I got hooked. Great round, great gun. Maybe I should shoot 6 more. Okay, before I let you go, let's make it Magnum. Let's make it Magnum. I know, buddy, even though you're 47 years old, you got some years left in you. You can handle these Magnums. Come on now. I hope I can live long enough to see its 50th birthday, okay? Because I'll have to plan a special celebration. You know, if we're still doing videos, I hope we're still doing videos so you'll see it. If not, I'll do a celebration anyway. But don't let me forget that. That would be year 2004, and it will be 50 years in my possession. Okay, now I bought it new. All right, let's magnemize some plates. Oh, I got one more. Let's put him on the gong, see if I can hit it. Got him. Held a little bit low, got him. Just under it. Yep. Good old dirty hairy gun, except longer barrel. This is the 8 3/8 for you new folks. The 44 Magnum Model 29-2, this one is. Right, -2. And had to replace the trigger pin once. You can see Gunsmith did that. Jeff Wally over at Guns and Leather. I haven't re-blued it, but did that. I think I had to replace the ejector rod, a piece of that at one point. It got worn over there. So you know, it's had a lot of, it's not just old, it's had a lot of rounds put through it. And most of them have been hand loads, moderate Magnum hand loads. But it's had a lot of ammo shot through it, and still just as accurate as ever. And something John and I were talking about the other day. People often make comments about how, well, whether it's a polymer gun or what it is, you wonder if that old polymer gun will be around 100 years. It won't be around 100 years like that 1911 is you're shooting or whatever it might be. And you know, the thing is, guns just last. You know. They can break, that sort of thing, but when you think about like my Civil War rifles, the shape they're in, and if you leave something lying out on the porch in the rain for 20 years, yeah, it's going to rust away, I guess, or bury in the mud. But when you get some age on you, it does give you a little bit different insight into how things last. you know, or what 100 years is, or 50 years, just from your sheer age, right? And then because you've lived long enough, you've had something. Like if I didn't fire this as much as I have, if I had not fired it so much, it would still look pretty. Look at that barrel. It would still, I mean, you know, and the bluing is in good shape. It's just from sheer wear. If you notice from the picture, you know, it's low resolution. It's hard to tell. You know, the grip has become a lot darker just from the oil and hands or whatever over the years. But let's say I just didn't shoot it that much, but I had it this long. I'd shoot every now and then. It would look virtually new, you know, and it's almost 50 years old. So, and then I had it for another 50 years and did the same thing. Well, I wouldn't have it for another 50 years, but someone else has it, say, for the next 50. And as you shoot it occasionally, it would still look new, you know. So you got 100 years on it, and it's, you know, hadn't changed that much. Okay, so how much different would 200 or 300 years make, say, on this gun, or a gun like this? One that just isn't shot all that much. And you've got some like that. I've got some like that they're fairly old revolvers, you know, maybe made in the 60s or the 70s. And they're in better shape than this. They don't have the wear, didn't have to have the trigger pin replaced because they weren't shot 70,000 times or anything like that. You know, 100 years, a gun might just be just fine. I've got 1911s like that and other guns. They're really in good shape. If I could fast forward another 100 years, I don't know what would change that much unless I just wore them out. Fast forward another 200 years. What's going to change that much if you just keep it oiled and wipe down and shoot it occasionally, you know? So, you know, I mean, I've had enough time in my own life with various firearms that if they don't change at all, almost, virtually no change, you know, in 50 years or 60 years, like my dad's, the oldest gun I have, I guess, is, well, Dad's the Ward's Western Field 22 rifle. Now I did have to refinish that, but that was made, I just learned really in the 40s, but we've had it, you know, Dad had it, and we've had that for, well, like 70 years, you know, and had fired it from time to time, and, you know, what's to keep it from lasting another 70, and another 200, another 500 years, maybe, you know, so anyway, guns do last. They do last, and the fact they're polymer, I don't know if that's going to make a difference. A Glock 19 is probably going to be around as long as this will, unless you melt it or something. You know, we all know how plastic is. You know, that's the hit on plastic and polymers is that they never deteriorate. You know, you can't get rid of them. You know, so anyway, I mean, wood is not exactly titanium. You take care of something for years, or 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, what's going to happen to the wood necessarily? You know, polymer, you know, should last. Anyway, I know you're dying to hear that. Sun's coming out. Well, maybe we're not going to get rained on. We'll see. All right, well, I've gone too long, and I apologize. One of these days, I'll learn to not talk so much, and because, you know, I can still keep waiting for me to step in it, you know. I talk so much, and I'm bound to be extra stupid somewhere, sometime. Say something I didn't mean to say. Insult you. Insult everybody. You know, I don't mean to do that. So I'm going to let you go, and I will talk to you next week if things go well, right? And they normally do. So I plan to see you next Sunday. And I hope where you live, you're beginning to get out. The weather's changing and things are opening up. We people of the herd hopefully are becoming a little bit more immune. At least enough people are becoming more immune that we can get out and relax. I mean, I've been relaxed for the whole last year, but you know, if you have had a hard time relaxing, if you've been especially nervous about catching something, I probably should have been more nervous, but I wasn't at all. But again, I've been in good health my life. Gosh, I don't know when I got the flu last, and I never get flu shots, you know, that kind of thing. I've gone over that before. And I've known so many people that have it, and, you know, I just think I'd have been fine. But anyway, if you've been particularly nervous about it, maybe you are less nervous now, and you can creep out of the cave and maybe actually talk to people. You know, never know. Even show your mouth, talk to them. People look so strange with a diaper on their face. They really, really do. Got to get over that, don't we? So I'm going to let you go, and I will see you next Sunday, probably right here. I think I screwed up the ending, so I'm going to say it one more time. I hope I was recording all this. Maybe not, but life is good.